How can you possibly make money with a condemned lake? Hey guys, it's Chris Prefontaine. Welcome to another Deal Structure Sunday video. I am with Link Ervin from North Carolina again because Link is cranking now. And we've got a really interesting deal. So I'm not going to even prelude it with much, Link. Let's dive into the source and then all these crazy nuances, and then I'll think of other questions as we go live.
Okay, sure. So basically what this was a house that I found on For Rent by Owner. It was a message I'd reached out. The guy called back and he seemed ecstatic. Like weirdly overly interested to the point that it made me a little uncomfortable. Then we started talking, and the more we talked, it was a house that had appraised for almost $800,000 10 years ago. He went through some marital troubles. They essentially condemned the lake. 2 designer golf courses got closed. The community center, everything about this neighborhood is pretty much closed except for the 1,200 homeowners and the 1,100 empty sites. But nobody's interested because of the condemned, drained, empty lake and the golf courses that are overgrown now.
Absolutely incredible. So
it was, and scared me to death.
Okay, so this is interesting. We can go a million different directions. We'll see where it takes us. But so that's how the whole investigatory stage started. Now let's talk about his numbers.
Okay, sure.
Before we dive in.
So basically, he owed roughly $375. He wanted some equity. If I had agreed to pay $400, he would have been ecstatic. But I was petrified. I did not know that market. I did not know the country club area. I did not know anything about any of it. Went out and saw it. The house was beautiful. It is a beautiful home, some amazing pictures. But it's, tenants have been in it several years, and you can tell. It's not perfect like it probably was when he lived there. But it's just, at $400,000, it scared the life out of me. It's a $2,300 a month payment plus a second mortgage on it. So it was almost $3,000 a month. The whole thing just scared me, and I just wasn't willing to commit to making payments on this property if I couldn't find a buyer.
Okay, so then I'm remembering some of our conversations. I think originally you, in your mind, I don't think you told him, you were ready to kind of pay him a little bit more on the back end. And I think we reeled that back in, didn't we?
What ended up happening was I ended up taking it as an assignment deal. Essentially, I was going to get a referral fee or a fee based on finding him a buyer, placing a buyer. I was going to take my share of the down payment up front. And then
for the listeners, just an AO deal at first, because we were both like, what the heck? It's a little strange. So yeah. Just an AO at first.
So basically, I was just going to be a deal creator, put the deal together, and then hand it over to him, vet the buyers, and hand it over to him. I had a couple of okay buyers, but nothing that was outstanding, and nothing I really wanted to saddle him with. None of them felt great. And so I never found a buyer. Our term expired. And I reached out after a couple of weeks. I didn't hear anything from him. I think he was just no news is good news kind of guy, just anything. But you and I talked, and I decided to approach him again and say, hey, the agreement expired. What if I could? And then I just offered to maybe what if you only had to make 2 more payments maximum and then never had to think about that house again? After you and I talked, and he said, oh my God, Link, that's awesome. If you could do that, that would be perfect. That would be awesome. I can't tell you. I'd like to get a little equity, but I don't want to think about this house again. So yes, that sounds great. So I dug into the numbers, and essentially the payments were almost $3,000 a month. And I can't find anybody at that number on the hope that the house or the neighborhood's coming back. It is coming back. They've had some really great things happen. They replaced the old developer. There's a state senator that lives in the area. They've got a new developer. I mean, everything that's positive that can be happening is happening. But still, I mean, that's just too much payment for a house that's now basically become somewhat of a fixer-upper at $500,000.
Yeah.
So I approached him, and so now he's essentially refinanced the house, got the payments down to where I can tolerate them, and it's turning into a subject to with a payment of $2,200 a month instead of a AO or a lease purchase with a payment of almost $3,000 a month. And now what was going to be a $33,600 deal if I could find somebody is now going to be a
Just don't know.
100,000 or more. We have no idea. There's no
Yeah.
way to know yet.
A couple things just for my own questions for the deal structure video, but also so they understood when you said the agreement expired. What happens, guys, if you're new to this, is we put agreements together, whether it's AO or sandwich, and sometimes even sub to or owner financing, that sometimes say it's contingent upon finding a buyer. When you're brand new, you do that a lot. Link's got a business going now, so he can make some different decisions. So his first one expired, meaning he gave himself 90 days, Link?
It was 90 days, and he was afraid that we weren't going to be able to do anything, and he wanted time to find a renter before fall hit. So that's what
you guys came up with that, and then that came and went, and then he went back to him. And I'll insert here that you utilize just our relationship, meaning as an associate. And not only did you have numerous conversations, but I had a conversation with him too. And it just brings in the third party, which is one of the bennies of being an associate, obviously.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, he wanted to talk to an attorney, and I said, well, great. I mean, I'll be glad to get you, either my attorney or we'll vet an attorney for you. I said, but before you get an attorney, I want you to talk to Chris. He knows more about real estate, and he'll actually answer your questions rather than just yes or no answers. He'll expand on and give you thought and food for thought to approach the attorney if you decide to get an attorney involved. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay. So that, and then answer this, because you said it 3 times. You were petrified at the beginning. You circled back to him. Now you got a deal that actually makes a ton of sense, and you got it for only the amount owed. I'm assuming, right? That's how we ended up with that.
That's right. That's
right.
What
moved you from your words, petrified, to, hey, I'm going to do this?
Sure. Well, the biggest thing was I just wasn't sure on a $500,000 house what kind of traffic we'd get. But I've utilized myself and another marketing company, and we've had tons of traffic. Nothing perfect, but plenty of traffic, and that tells me that it's just a matter of time before we find somebody. Mm-hmm. And so I was afraid I wouldn't get any traffic, and I'm getting a bunch of traffic. So it just strengthened my. Plus, it lowered by $50,000 or more, or roughly between $30,000 and $50,000 what I would be making on the deal. It increased. It lowered my cost on, and also that obviously increased the attractiveness to me as well.
Yeah. Now you might want to build in, like we didn't talk about this, is why these deal structures are fun. You might want to build in one of two things: either rent for a while to see what that development does in case it has a pop up and you get to benefit from it, right. Or real simple, feel better about getting your tenant buyer like you want to anyway, because it's a better person in the home than a tenant. But right. Build in a factor that says, look, you guys might have a huge pop in this house, so we're going to share in anything over this price increase. You could do that.
Awesome. That's a great idea. I hadn't done that, but that's a great idea.
50% even. Who cares? It's a win-win. Hey, right. We're in this together. Let's. Yeah, that's cool actually.
Right. That's really so cool. rather than explaining that I'm going to come back and reevaluate the house if it takes off, we'll just agree in advance to an amount.
They should be tickled pink.
Right.
We're happy because what the heck, we're protected. We get half of the upside, and everybody wins, and that's always more healthy relationship.
Great thinking, Chris. Thank you.
That's a cool one. So, any other nuances on this? So, you're going to close soon.
Yep. It's actually, we're just waiting on the final attorney approval and the final approval from the mortgage company on the refinance. But yes.
Yeah, because you can move along without that, but It's just they got to do all kinds of recording and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I think this one smells like a redo, an encore deal structure when you get the buyer, because people are going to be going, what happened? Where'd this thing
Right.
go? And then if
I
the
agree.
neighborhood pops, we do it again.
Well, it's just been such a unique situation. I mean, I had a seller who was enthusiastically weird, and then I had, oh my gosh, no, that scares me to death, to wait a minute, we can really make some money on this, and now there may be even a lot more money. And so, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I guess there's a bunch of lessons, but I guess one big one is you stuck with him and you knew he had a headache, and we don't sell, we solve issues. And
Right. That's
no
exactly
offense to the realtors or many other flippers and wholesales, but
that's
they
exactly
don't have a
right.
solution for that.
That is exactly right. That is exactly right. I just hung in there, and I stayed in touch. One of the things that I do really, really well with my sellers is I continue to communicate with them in the event we need to pivot,
Yeah.
because we do need to pivot sometimes.
Yep. And yes, so you get the nice credibility and relationship, and they trust you, know you, like you, know you're going to make the right decisions with them once you do that.
That's exactly right.
Super smart. And also, any deal like this that smells like, holy shit, no one's touching this deal, more reason for you to dig deeper, which Link did.
That's exactly right.
Awesome. Awesome deal, buddy. If you guys have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, obviously these deal structure videos are loaded with nuances and deals and profits and all kinds of things you can learn from. This one being more about the story than the huge profit Link's going to pull out of it, clearly. And also, if you have not subscribed to and downloaded episodes of the podcast, get your butt over there at smartrealestatecoachpodcast.com. And last but not least, Link, look forward to seeing you in a few months at QLS Live. Any last minute thoughts on these guys getting to QLS Live? Because obviously with thousands of subscribers, they don't all get there.
Right. No, I'll tell you what. I mean, every time I go to Rhode Island, whether it's a high six meeting, whether it's business scaling, whether it was just a personal visit for me to reevaluate where my business was and what was happening, which again is a high six benefit. But anytime I go up there, I come away with some enthusiasm and some new thoughts and some new approaches. So, I mean, if there's any way to get there, I would get there.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for being on again and spending some time with us.
Yes, sir. Thank
See you
you. Have a
soon.
great afternoon.
You too.